But what did you do all day today?
I slept most of today.
Mm-hmm. And then
You only flew back from Winnipeg?
I didn't sleep much the last few days.
Do you know what
I was
the
trying to
jet-
get in every last second of fun in Winnipeg, having chicken strips and honey dill sauce, which is a Winnipeg specialty. Going to the Jets-Devils game before the Devils went off to Switzerland. And,
Geeta, you just don't understand jet lag. Coming from the
Jet
central...
Oh, we get a lot of shots. Everybody come to their net. We just have to get more and more pucks to the net.
What were you saying about putting pucks on net?
Pucks on net. Pucks on net. Continue to put pucks on net.
Pucks on net.
Pucks on net.
Well, that's the key. We got to get the puck on net.
We used to talk about in Vancouver getting pucks on net.
Pucks on net and driving and making it a hard night on them.
6 long years. My mic's not even on, is it?
You're on. You're
No,
good.
I can't hear anything.
Live on tape from Geeta's apartment, her palatial estate on the 23rd floor. This is Pucks on Net, a Vancouver hockey podcast that doesn't talk about fantasy or fancy stats. Although we've got a lot of fantasy stats on the brain as of late. My name
Tis
is...
the season.
It is. It's October. PMAC, he's got jet lag. How you doing, bud?
Good, except my earphones are legitimately not on. I don't know what's going on.
You know, you can just fake it. Can
I
you
have
hear
bad
it?
hearing as it is. Nope.
How about now?
Yeah. Ryan, have fun with
We're
it.
just
go
a
with it.
little rusty.
Well, my name is Ryan Chapp. I'm going to be your host for the evening. Riding shotgun is my fantasy football compadre and owner of this establishment, Geeta.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, at your home.
Oh, yeah. Welcome into my home, everybody.
And PMAC, now he can hear us.
Yeah, no, it's. Sorry, I couldn't hear you because all those Avco Cup rings stuck in my ears from Winnipeg.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's been a long summer without you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice of you to say.
I don't know if you guys know that White Snake song, that you don't know what you got till it's gone. That's about PMAC this summer.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we're back.
Yeah. It's a little emotional. You should have seen us yesterday.
I'm here now.
That's right, you are. You're
In the flesh.
What's you got a Jets shirt on?
Yeah, I am wearing a Jets shirt.
Is there something on the back?
It's a Patrick Liney. Like the first week I got to Winnipeg, I went to the Adidas outlet store next to the building I was working in all summer.
Yeah.
And they had $15 Jets jerseys, and I'm looking, and there's a lot of Lineys, and the manager's there, and I'm like, where are the other ones? And he goes, we only bought Lineys. You have to buy like 500 to get this much of a discount. And we decided that would be the safest one to buy. So I didn't get to choose.
Yeah.
Was given a Patrick Liney the second I stepped in the city.
It comes with the territory.
They
now.
hand them out at the airport.
Yeah, it's like when you get off the plane in Hawaii, they put the lei over your shoulder, over your head.
I did not get you two Patrick Liney discount shirts. I legitimately went to the real Jets store for you two.
When are we gonna do those gifts?
Ryan's been waiting like
you're
it's
calling the shots?
Christmas.
Okay, well, we have a lot of presents to unveil on the show this week, so down the road we'll get to them.
Okay.
I want to thank you for joining us wherever you guys got us from. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, pucksonnetca or pucksnetca. Looking around.
That's
New-
done.
Do
That's
you
done
have
this
the
year.
stuff like Dave pre-recorded that you can like
Listen,
do that?
I don't have a lot of free time. All right,
No,
I'm
you
very
don't.
busy. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, pucksonnetca or pucksnetca. And if you want to support the show monetarily, we want you to head on over to patreon.com/pucksonnet where you can pledge a couple of bucks. Geeta, how much money?
Like $2? No, $5. Sorry.
You need a soundboard. You do need, like the Jeff Peterson from Craig Ferguson back in the day when he had the robot skeleton. Just a soundboard like
How
that.
about
Or
this? How about
Restarby's
a couple
podcast
of
has
bucks.
a soundboard.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know what? We could have a soundboard that is cold and digital and lonesome and has
Sounds
no.
But
like
this
my
one
life.
is like a crank.
I feel like I'm cranking it out of you guys. How much money, Paul? Do they should contribute?
I don't remember.
Couple of bucks.
Oh, there you go.
And
Preferably $5 to get full Patreon benefits of the lowest quality.
There you go. He's been reading the binder, and we have a ton of new donors this month because we are after the show. We're doing at 8:30 in about an hour and 20 minutes. We're doing our first ever Pucks on Net fantasy hockey draft, and a lot of people signed up to Patreon to join the league, and we got to thank them.
Congratulations to those who got in.
That's right. There was upwards of one person that was unable to get in because they emailed me too late.
It's a real shame.
So we're going to do the good old-fashioned tradition of me reading out some names that I will butcher, followed by a dollar amount.
Okay.
Nicholas J. Bunya?
I'd say that's Bunya.
Bunya.
I would
Or
go Bunya.
Bunya. $5 from Nikki Bunya. Thank you very much. Megan Kennedy, she's pledged $5. Want to thank you very much.
Okay.
Is that occasional panelist Adam Kennedy's sister?
No. And
I asked the same question.
for those listening, a friend of ours that has helped shoot Pucks on Net videos, he photographed our cover art, and he's always helping us around.
He's been on the air.
Yeah, he's been on
Christmas specials. He did a record special about hockey music.
Yeah, so he has two sisters, and one is named Megan, and I would always bug him because anytime his sister was single, I'm like, it's just a matter of time before I meet Megan and I start dating her. And so it was a joke for a few years, and I've actually never met her. But when Megan pledged money to Patreon, I got the email. Yeah. I took a screenshot, and I immediately sent it to Adam, and I said, look who's giving us money on Patreon, pal. And then he was mortified, and I said, okay, it's not your sister.
Well, Megan,
the other
Adam's cool, but it's totally fine with us that you're not Adam's sister.
Yeah. Matthias Matt Fallman, probably the longest serving listener. He's also pledged money.
He was download number 1.
Yeah. And Ben Rhodes, he's pledged $5. Thank
Damian Rhodes' son.
Yes, that is correct. Jacob Thomas Mueller, he's pledged $5. Brian A. Campbell, the Brian Campbell.
The one from Buffalo?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Jacob. It could be Mueller if you're following the Mueller investigation in the United States, folks.
So that's his
could be
son?
Mueller, could be Mueller.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably because he was a hockey player.
Oh, yeah, there we go. So thanks for that DC money. Brian Campbell, who I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but we read your iTunes review on the air once, and you commended us for our recommendations for gentlemen's establishments in Vancouver.
We've been to upwards of 2 of them.
Yes, upwards of 2. We're very
You
learned.
two have been to infinitely more than me.
Well.
No, we've been to upwards of 2 of them.
That's infinitely more than me.
I guess technically it is, yeah.
Oh.
Not a lot of math magicians on the show here.
You didn't visit any in Winnipeg?
No. You sound so shocked.
And
some of my coworkers did. Don't get me wrong.
And finally, on a first name only basis, like Cher, Matt has pledged $5. And
did Matt get into the fantasy league?
Yes, I believe everybody here except Megan is in our fantasy league. So we want to thank you for joining us, and we hope we keep you around. We hope.
Is it bad if I tell people who this Matt is? Like if I reveal the last name?
Who Matt is?
Oh yeah. And there's a reason why he's just Matt. It's Matt Damon. Yeah. Wow. Thanks, Matt Damon.
Goes from doing a fantastic Brett Kavanaugh on SNL to being in the PON Fantasy Hockey League.
He is doing it all this weekend.
What a guy! Yeah. So yeah, we want to thank everybody for pledging money this month, and we hope you stick around. Now that this money is legitimately going to cover the monthly costs of this show, so every little bit helps, and we hope you stick around and enjoy the bonus content. We've got a fun video coming up for 5 minutes for paying after the show, so thank you very much. They said that's your...
Sorry.
Yeah, that's Geeta's...
It's a Monday nighter!
Look at this phone. Look at your phone charger. You got to unplug that.
This is only my house charger. It's fine.
It's a fire hazard.
No, it's buzzing in the headphones.
Oh.
Yep, that's definitely...
Thank you. That's what...
My fantasy lead is very slim right now.
And that was that was Sam Gagner's chances of making the team this year. And he was waived
Those
today.
were also a fantasy.
We woke up to some very exciting news this morning, PMAC.
Yes, I suppose so. People are happy the Canucks cut one of their vets, and now there's arguments as to whether it was the right vet to cut.
It was the most cost-effective vet to
What
cut.
were their other options?
I mean, Sutter or Beagle both make more money than Kanye.
Yeah, but those are also people that they want to put a C on.
Yes, it is. For whatever reason.
Foundational players right there. They still have to stomach, I think, about $2 million of Sam Gagner's contract.
Mm.
You can only hide 1.5, I believe, in the Cayman Islands. That is the AHL.
Why don't they just hide it on Patreon right here?
Well, hey, not a bad idea right there, Canucks. It's a deferral. It's like they're deferring money. That's not laundering. It's a very big, very different thing.
Does he show up to Utica? Is he at the point now where they try to move him and have to pay somebody to take him away, or they buy him out at this point, though?
His contract's not that bad.
Okay.
It's not a matter of whether his contract's bad.
Would he be serviceable elsewhere?
Somebody on Twitter made a great idea that the Oilers would pick him up.
Yeah.
And they'd put him alongside Connor McDavid and his new pal Ty Ratty, and then Sam Gagner would get 60, 70 points.
A night. 8-point night, Sam Gagner.
That's right. It was just a matter of time.
He's pretty much Daryl Sittler. But,
I could see that.
Doesn't have the team around him.
And then Vancouver would be here with their jaws open.
What? And then they would.
What? That's what we had? No, you didn't have that.
It'd be interesting to see him somewhere else, though, because he put up very good numbers as a specialist in Columbus before he got to Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I mean, you look around, and Washington's a good example. They love Nick Dowd. They say he's the next Jay Beagle.
That's incredible.
And it says a lot about, but I mean, especially a player like that.
Polly.
Can I finish my point?
No. Where did Nick Dowd play last year?
Exactly. That's the point I'm making.
Pittsburgh? I don't know.
Those bottom
further
here.
Oh, further south?
Yeah. So I don't keep going, Paul.
Wasn't that the whole point I was making?
No, I didn't know what the point you were making.
That's why you let me finish my point, Ryan. I'm trying to be more aggressive this year because Dave's not here. So just sit down and let me finish my point there, Chief. You put bottom six forwards who are half decent on a good team with other good bottom six forwards and that can score. And, hey, Nick Dowd and Jay Beagle are pretty much the same guy. The Canucks are going to learn a hard lesson on cost effectiveness this year because Nick Dowd could have stuck around and probably not been that much worse than what they're going to see out of Jay Beagle.
Jay Beagle is very fit.
This is true. I don't hate Jay Beagle. I just think he's overpaid.
Oh, of course. I think Jay Beagle thinks he's overpaid.
But he's not overweight.
No, he's not like Bryant Reeves overpaid and
and overweight.
All right, I got that money to start that. What is he doing now? He's breeding oxen or something in the Arkansas countryside.
There's a documentary, I think, at VIF.
Finding Big Country.
Yeah, it's on the cover of the Georgia Straight. I got it in my kitchen. I haven't read it yet, but I think that'd be a fun one.
Yeah, hilarious twist, though. It's actually about Big Country Jake Virtanen.
They found him. He's just down the Trans-Canada in Abbotsford.
He's out in that new house he bought out in Abbotsford. That's 1.3 a year or whatever he's got now.
That's quite the commute.
That's his stay out of trouble off-season house. So I think he still has a condo downtown.
Got it. So it's like a duplex with his mom.
I mean, he's got a little bit more money, but based on the housing prices in the last few years, that doesn't sound too far off.
Jeez, Geeta, he doesn't live in a duplex with his mom. He's across the street from his mom.
Jeez,
duplex. Geeta. What is this? He's the same as Ray Romano. He's not some little kid.
When you think about it, that's a very problematic situation, both in real life and in a sitcom. Mm-hmm. Especially for the wife, always having to deal with the in-laws. Like, nobody wants to deal with that.
Yeah, and Ray Romano's father was Frankenstein's monster.
That's why...
That's a problem on its own. I don't know what's going on this season, guys, but welcome back. Thanks for listening.
Patreon.com/pucksonnet. I am very ecstatic about him getting dumped. There's still, I believe, 2 more cuts that need to be made.
Okay.
The Ben Hutton,
Is that like an inevitability?
Yeah.
Are there more cuts? I think they're set, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they're set, and they just have to pick who's sitting out first night.
Like, I know that a lot of the Twitter was overjoyed by the cuts today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also Archibald got cut, but no one's talking about that. That one doesn't offend anybody.
He'll be back so quick.
But if Hutton gets cut tomorrow, I feel like everybody will be like up in arms.
There's something there to work with. Like he should get a kind of a little another look, and he's in good shape. But
is this the place to work with that? I got nothing on it.
He's still, depending on who you trust and who you talk to, putting up better numbers, underlying numbers. I know we're not allowed to talk about those on this show. Than Eric Goodbranson and several other players. So whether that says how bad the Canucks decor is, Ben Hutton isn't the worst defenseman on this team, and he should get another year. He's still young enough. It'll be interesting to see he's in better shape.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like Travis Green is all about this tough love, being a hard coach, and then he basically still, he told it like it was with Ben at the end of the season, and then Ben goes home to Ontario and he gets as healthy as humanly possible and as healthy as he's ever been and in the best shape. Like, you got to give him a chance with that. I mean, every defenseman looks bad on that Canucks team.
But yeah, and I don't think they do have to cut anyone. I'm just sort of in my brain going over the roster because Roussel's going to start the year on the IR.
Yes, that's correct. I'm
sorry.
sorry.
They cut two guys yesterday. Demko, I don't know if he's down, but he's not sticking around. So I think they're clear. And now it's a matter of, do you sit Tyler Mott day one, or do you sit Nikolai Goldobin if he's not going to fit into the top six? There's a couple of options there to bench, and it'll be interesting.
Goldie was able to score goals.
So was Sam Gagner.
Yeah, that's right.
He popped that one in Kelowna, didn't he?
No, Goldobin got the one goal.
Goldobin? Well, he popped one in Salt Lake City. He got one.
On these weird off-site locations.
I had family at both of those games.
That's what PMAC was saying.
Yes, I was.
The McClellans are doing their own scouting.
Well, McClellan's in Kelowna. And then it's the McPhails down in Utah.
Technicality.
Speaking of McPhails, we figured we'd give old Dave a call.
Cousin Dave.
Dave, there's another big piece of news today, and it was regarding around the Montreal Canadiens saying they're totally over their cool old PK Subban, and they're totally over Max Pacioretty because they named a new captain today. And that was Angry Shea Weber.
Angry Shea Weber, who can't even play. Peg leg Shea Weber. He's like an angry pirate. He's got crutches, and he was standing there, and they couldn't see Brendan Gallagher behind big hulking Shea with the crutches. So they went, "You can be captain."
Let's pick that guy.
It's just that easy. You see, Ryan, guys, there was a cooler guy, a very smooth talking captain material type player that they never gave the C. A very Charles Minor type guy. And then they just picked the guy that they traded him for, who's from Kelowna, can't talk, has no charisma, and can't play till December. So
that
just
sounds
another
like captain material to me.
Sorry, what was that, Geeta?
I said that sounds like captain material to me.
It sounds like captain material to a lot of people, but I guess he's really big, so the media won't go after him like they did Little Patches. I don't really understand the thinking behind this or the rationale. This is a guy who doesn't represent the Montreal Canadiens brand. Mm-hmm. He became famous playing in Nashville, home of the Grand Ole Opry, who, by the way, PK Subban is doing better there than Shea Weber ever did.
Well, yes, because of his dynamic personality has been accepted by the team and the fans and all that gibberty-jew.
So did the trouble, can we track the downfall of the Montreal Canadiens back to the day that they traded PK out of Montreal to Nashville for their new captain?
It started a little bit before that. It started with that year that Carey Price was injured.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But it really, really went off the cliff when they made this deal. And I don't understand this move at all. It's not like there were a lot of candidates. I get that. There weren't a lot of people that they could look to, but Brendan Gallagher is a heart and soul guy. You and I saw firsthand, night in and night out, what he brings to a team in terms of leadership.
He got a consolation A.
He got a consolation A. He got it's something, but I think it would have really sent a positive message to the team that loyalty, hard work, hustle, and respect. I changed up the order because I don't like wrestling that much anymore. But
here's the thing. They're not showing loyalty to anyone who's been there for a very long time at all.
No, they're like, who's going to be a better candidate as captain than all of you? A guy that's not going to play till we're already mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. But by the look of this team, should be around December.
But hey, he's Carey Price's friend, so we all got to like him.
Are they? I guess they're jet ski buddies up in Kelowna, I guess, in the offseason, eh? The Muskoka of the West.
I got the sense that they named a captain so quickly right before the season started to just send that message like, this is the new team, this is the new mantra, this is what we're doing, this is the guy. Forget about all that bad stuff in the past. Like, it just seemed really a hastily made decision.
But why would you pick a guy that's going to get introduced on opening night sitting on the bench wearing a tracksuit and not dressed tonight? Your new captain, Shea Weber. Like, it just is awkward. It doesn't make any sense. And don't name a captain, and then when he comes back and he's healthy, then oh yeah, by the way, he's captain. And that gives you a positive media story when you're 17 and 20 to start the season, right? Like, save it.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. P-Mac, what do you take on this? What's your take on this, bud?
Oh, I was watching football. I zoned out here over the talk, but
it's a big Monday night.
I was going to ask, is Paul even there?
I don't like getting in the way of Dave. I know he gets on the tracks and he just rolls with it. But yeah, you guys talk about, setting tone and stuff. I think this is the Montreal Canadiens going, hey, we're probably not going to be very good this year, and that's totally fine with us. We're rebuilding now. Shea Weber is the obvious leader as a veteran guy, and as a guy who's in the dressing room after the games, I know he's an easy to talk to, level-headed, generally, in my experience, even after a loss, type of guy who can sort of be that steady interview after the game, talking to officials, which really is the role of the captain in many ways, while they sort out, what this team is going to become.
How's his French, Paulie? Do you know if his French is any good?
Je ne sais pas.
Parlez-vous français?
Paulie, make just a thought, because you would talk to him when he was captain of the Predators, where expectations are a lot lower and the fishbowl of media and scrutiny is a lot different. What do you think he could act like in Montreal, where they literally eat non-French speaking captains for breakfast?
We'll have to see. It's one of those, it's just like guessing. We don't know. We'll find out. But I think, like I said, part of the reason you pick a guy like that is he's old enough and sort of done enough with his career where he can go hopefully it's just like water off the duck's back.
Or
it's not going to get to him.
Are we just putting too much importance on this letter? All the letters.
I do think that some people put a lot more value. I mean, it's a very...
I'm pointing to
Ryan
myself
wants
here.
to talk.
No, I put importance on the letter.
Yeah, no, we've had this conversation before, but it's also just sort of like a operation on the club.
David?
Well, this is my biggest problem with it is that not all seas are created equal. Like the Carolina Hurricanes captain, that doesn't matter. I think it's Ric Flair for all I know. But this is the Montreal Canadiens. This is the grande dame of the NHL. This letter means something. So to put it on a 33-year-old guy with a wonky leg and a wonky back, it just, why not put it on a guy who's done a lot for the franchise and is going to continue to do that? Like Brendan Gallagher, for me, it's almost as obvious as Bo Horvat. He's 27, 28 years old. He's got plenty of good hockey left. He's universally respected and loved by the Habs fans. He's a part of that community. It just seems like a really, really missed opportunity for them to kind of like what you guys were saying, hit the reset button, but also show us that critical thinking isn't dead in Montreal and that they're going to turn it around and start making some good decisions. You could even say this: the one city on planet Earth where making the goalie the captain might be not the worst idea in the world would have been Montreal. I'll throw that out there. I want to hear Paul's thoughts on that.
No,
I was going to
say, captain.
By that argument, Montreal should still have put the C on PK Subban. I know you don't play here,
but we still love you.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know what? I think if you could turn back the clock, if Doc Brown showed up and said, Mark Bergevin, get in the car. What do you want to do here? Maybe they don't trade PK and they pick him over Patches and he's the captain. As much as I don't like PK Subban, and that's well documented on this show, he would have been a pretty good choice for that town because he's so charismatic and because he's so comfortable in the fishbowl and in front of the media. In fact, he runs towards that kind of attention.
Yeah.
You know, he bones up on his French a little bit. You know, maybe he'd be a good captain.
Well, that's the thing. You captains don't need to come in the model of Jonathan Toews.
No, we don't
true.
have to be all so goddamn serious all the time. It's like how Paul's the browbeating captain of this podcast.
Well,
He wouldn't
And
accept
he's-
that C at all.
he doesn't believe in it.
Paul's the patches of the podcast since he got me traded to Ottawa.
Yeah, don't worry, Dave. Even he's laughing at that one.
He couldn't handle my charisma in the room.
You were stepping all over him.
Captain Serious over here.
Your flashy blue suits making the scene. You and your good time buddies.
This brings up a good segue because in last month I discovered the clearance page of NHLShop.com, and I bought everybody on the podcast a clearance page NHL jersey for them.
Can I tell them what I said to you about Dave's?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. I said yours is now obsolete.
Yeah, it is as of today. Although I'm going to be going to the Bell Center probably in a few weeks, and I'll
And you're
go
gonna
up to
buy a
the,
seat?
One
No,
seat,
I'll go to-
please.
Yeah, I'll go to the Let Team store and plunk down $20 to get a seat thrown on that bad boy.
So now you can figure out. I bought Dave a really nice Shea Weber Habs jersey, and
I thought it was a PK Subban when Teresa took it out of the bag because I just saw the 6 at first. and I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
So, and I called it the wrong side of history jersey. It's still out of the 4 that we have, and we're going to reveal now, it's probably the most respectable.
I've been wearing it in the house while I've been playing Shell 19.
As
It's a
one
beautiful
does.
sweater.
Was it a red or a white?
It's a red, baby.
It's really nice.
I would wear that with pride.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Paul, and the rest of you guys, like up close and personal, like I'm not a jersey guy, and that also is well documented. But like in person, like it's the nicest looking jersey I think you could buy on the market. It's the colors, the logo.
Yeah.
The name and number on the back.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah,
sharp.
it's
It's
a
the
very
30th
nice
captain
uniform.
of the Montreal Canadiens.
There you go.
Doesn't get
Well,
more prestige.
this is a Habs town, Geeta, in
Yeah.
Ottawa. There's no evidence that the Ottawa Senators even exist.
So I want to take this time to unveil all our jerseys now.
Okay.
How about Geeta? You go first.
All right. And if this is it?
That's yours. Yeah.
Okay.
Ryan, did you get yourself one?
Okay.
I got myself one. Yeah.
I have no idea what this is. I couldn't have even guessed it.
I'm very excited.
Wait a minute.
I feel like I should have brought a better camera.
I don't even know what would be on the back of.
Oh,
It's an audio show, Geeta.
new favorite team,
What is it?
It's an Evander Kane.
Vander Kane Jets.
Winnipeg Jets jersey.
And Ryan actually threw this one in the shower before he gave it to you.
Geeta, he is on your very short list of NHL hunks. And I would like to think that just like
You know what? I'm going to wear this all around town.
just prancing around. And, you're a little bit like Evander Kane. You find the right group of big personalities in San Jose, as in us, and you really flourish.
Oh, I'd fit in right there, too.
Yeah, let's not, tell the truth. She carries this podcast. Come on, Ryan.
That's right. All right, PMAC, you're up next.
Oh, no. Ryan told me about this, and I instantly
By the
went
way,
to the...
thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I went to the NHL.com website and looked, and I'm pretty sure I know which one I'm getting. Unless Ryan
pretty
really
sure you
wanted
don't
to
there, bud.
throw a wrench
No,
in
he
things.
knows. He's already wearing that look of disdain. He's already throwing it in our
To
faces.
be fair, that's my normal face.
It's true.
Big. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, this isn't what I guessed at all.
can you just?
Colorado Avalanche,
Uh-huh.
who I've been touting as a great dark horse in the league the
Right.
last couple years.
Yeah.
And you flip that one around. There you go. Big,
Yeah, no surprise.
big number
No
9.
originality, Ryan.
Matt Duchesne right there.
So this
Hey,
will be
he could
going
be
on
going
Twitter.
back there at the trade deadline. That could be a jersey of the future.
There you go, Paul.
There you go.
And you know what I was gonna say? A Matt Duchene jersey. That he's such a superstar. He's not that a jersey like that's not going in the clearance bin. As Geeta's putting hers on right now. I have one too, which I will soon reveal. Do you want to just hold this?
Promise you're going to take me to a game so I can wear this.
Well, you can wear it to any game.
Yeah, but it'd be weird if, like...
So far, my jersey's the only one where
if
the
I
guy
showed
still
up at a
plays on the
Dallas
team.
Stars game. And
Yeah, Dave, you're right.
That's how discount jerseys go.
Yeah, Dave's got the one jersey, and I was shocked to see it there. And it was like, and the people I've shown it to, it's like that's the nicest one. That fits you really good, Geeta.
That's right.
So I don't know why I tape my own bag.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no idea what this one is.
We don't know.
Well,
what
so
he
that
got
we
himself.
so we can't see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Surprise.
So I went with a Philadelphia Flyers jersey.
He looks pretty gritty.
Yeah, very gritty. It doesn't say.
Oh, I love gritty so much.
And I went with the Braden Shen Philadelphia Flyers jersey. And I like to think of Braden Shen as like myself on the podcast, where I had a lot of potential in Philly, but when I coattail rode the likes of Jaden Schwartz and Vladimir Tarasenko, that's where I really flourished. So you guys are my top line in St. Louis.
Aww.
And I also really like how ugly these jerseys are. I'm going to go after this. I'm going to go get some batteries, and I'm going to throw them at some referees.
There you go. True Philly fan.
That's right. Dave.
Hey,
Dave's Hughes guy. Thanks for phoning in, and I'm glad you enjoy the jersey, bud.
All right, so I'll see you guys all online in about an hour for the draft. But in between there and then, I'm going to go down to the hot tub and have a little schwitz. Read my Sean Avery book. By the way, that was the thing I wanted to quickly touch on. If you haven't bought Offside, the Sean Avery book, get it now. It's really good. It's a page turner. I've been reading it this week. Fantastic.
Awesome, man. I'll definitely check that out.
Hey, could you send your copy over when you're done with it? I don't want to buy a new book. I'm okay with sloppy seconds.
It's a little water damaged and my cats have been eating it, but I'll send it right your way, Polly.
Sloppy.
You'll fall in love with my sloppy seconds of the book.
I'm keeping my gift that I bought for Ryan, and I'm glad you waited because I didn't get Dave anything because I knew he wouldn't be here, and I'm cheap.
Now, again, this is an audio show, so out of protest, Paul is not wearing the jersey of his favorite hockey player, Matt Duchene.
Matt Duchene's going to be really sad.
It's comments like those that make me not want to wear the jersey even more.
Now, Paul, you're bringing out some presents here, too.
And I don't know why I'm giving them to you two hooligans.
Because this is just like how a parent feels on Christmas morning. Ryan knows how to make someone feel bad.
Oh, yeah, I ruin a lot of Christmases.
It's actually a team jacket in white leather.
Wait a minute. It's going to go with my new Winnipeg Jets jersey.
I do have something to go with Geeta's Winnipeg Jets jersey. I didn't know what to get you, so I hope you're okay with this, but it's just a nice little Winnipeg Jets ball cap. Your new favorite team.
You look like Kanye with it floppily on your head. And what did you guys... Paul, you're handing me something here.
Here you go, Ryan. This one's for you. Merry Christmas.
I literally became a Winnipeg Jets fan.
Oh!
Use the microphone.
Nick Patan.
This was on the discount rack at the official store, and the second I saw it, I hope it's okay. It's a large.
No, that's good.
They only had large and XL.
Ooh, star of the WHL on Shaw 2012 to 2014. This is a big get. Thank you so much,
There
Paul.
you go. I
so
thought you'd
cute.
appreciate that more than anyone else.
You are very correct. I'm very happy. Thank you so much. I'm a little...
I'm super excited for when the Jets come around.
They're going to be the best team in the league this year. I kept telling people in Winnipeg that, and they're like, oh, dear God, I hope so.
If you can't see me, because you can't see me, listeners, I'm dressed head to toe in Jets gear.
Literally.
I'm wearing a Jets shirt, too, for the records. I mean, team of the podcast.
Now, I don't want this to be a whole thing about how good the Jets are and that we're swayed towards the Jets because we're head to toe in Jet stuff. But I say we go into the Pucks on Net 10, where I write down 10 teams for us to talk about. Mm-hmm. Some good, some bad, and some curious. Okay. And the first team on our list is, the Winnipeg Jets. We do this every year because we think there's about 21 teams that aren't really worth talking about. They're pretty dull, not a lot happening. And so I like to take 10 teams that I like to keep tabs on throughout the year.
Okay.
And just a little more intriguing than, say, the Carolina Hurricanes or hell, I didn't put the Pittsburgh Penguins on this list.
All right, so who you said Jets are first on your 10 list? Shen 10 over there?
Yeah. So the Winnipeg Jets, last year they went all the way to the conference final right before PMAC got there, which was very heartbreaking for him.
And honestly, they don't play the amazing Nashville Predators and kill each other in round 2.
Yeah.
I don't see the Knights beating the Jets there. The Jets had that big first game and then nothing after that. And I do think fatigue was a huge factor because the Knights had like 4 weeks off over the course of the first 2 rounds.
They were getting bored. Some interesting things about the Jets. They were 5th in goals per game last year, 3rd goals against.
Okay.
5th on the power play, 9th penalty kill. I'm not going to rattle off all these. They're not that important.
Yeah.
And they lost. I think their only real noticeable loss was Paul Stastny because he was a deadline guy from St. Louis. He's gone to the aforementioned Vegas Golden Knights. But the interesting thing about Winnipeg is they were able to re-sign every single or RFA, every free agent that was pending. Mm-hmm. Kevin Cheveldayoff was able to keep them all.
Okay.
So Connor Hellebuck is still there, Josh Morrissey, Brandon Tanev, Jacob Trouba, who demanded a trade a year or 2 prior, now realizes how it's pretty damn sweet in the peg right now.
Right.
So they're going to ice more or less the same team going into the season next year. They're they're Canada's favorite to win the Cup and definitely one out of the West. Would you say, Paul?
If I had to predict a team right now out of the West, I think I'd pick the Jets. I really like them. And it's to the point. It's kind of like when Vancouver was on top of their game 7-8 years ago and people in town were like, I hope they... Because in Winnipeg, they're honestly like, I hope this isn't just like too good to be true right now. Or they're not fans of the Jets. They're like, the Jets aren't so good.
In Canada, that is generally how we feel, that when it's good, it's too good to be true. But also, all the Canadian teams in the West, not so good.
I was just scouting this team on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And they look pretty... Kyle Connor looks
Yeah.
amazing out there. He's only going to get better.
Who was in net for that game you were at?
Connor Hellebuck. Didn't look so great, but no one was really playing defense, so...
Right.
C'est la vie, c'est la vie. But yeah, Blake Wheeler looked good in that one. Patrick Laine is just a beast out there. He
You're just saying that because
ran over Nico Hirsch. Mark Scheifele, all those guys. There's tons of amazing players in the lineup. So
and
they're all getting better, pretty much.
And it's all through patience through the draft, and it's just remarkable.
Yeah, we'll see if Dustin Byfuglien maybe takes a step back this year. He is getting to the age now where you go, he might. But I mean, he's never relied on his speed really, primarily as a.
And I mean, he has the support around him on the back
It's a great
end.
blue line.
Yeah. Team, speaking of great blue line, the exact opposite, our hometown boys in green, blue, and white, the Vancouver Canucks, are in the PON 10 for bad.
They were awful during the preseason.
They were, and they were awful last season. They were really bad during the preseason.
Do you think they'll win like a game? No, I'm kidding. They were pretty bad going into the preseason. What they did in the preseason. What was it, like 1-6 or something like that? Yeah,
they had a good, impressive comeback shootout win, I believe, against the Kings.
Okay.
They start the season at home versus Calgary, which they should lose. And then they go on the road for 6, like down in the southeast.
Yeah.
So I could see maybe a win in a Carolina or something like that, but I don't see them scoring a lot of goals. I don't see their goaltending making a lot of saves. I don't see their defense preventing a lot of goals.
Is it apparent that Daniel and Henrik are missing?
Yes. They were the key losses of last season. Mm-hmm. Did I have anybody else? Yeah, just Daniel and Henrik. And when they were here on the top,
Nicky Dowd.
Big Nick Dowd, yeah. He's down in Washington ready to win another Stanley Cup.
Another?
His first, there another.
Right.
When Daniel and Henrik were on the top line and the top power play unit, and Bo and Brock were fighting to get those minutes in that spot, anything that Besser did or anything that Bo Horvat did was just gravy. Like, that's great. They're producing. And now it's an expectation where they need to produce. Those are the two guys that have to score goals this year. And I'm really curious to see what's going to happen when the expectations are there.
Yeah.
Everyone was so keen on them stepping aside. I was hoping to see them for another year or two, primarily because of like depth scoring. The problem you have now for the Horvats and Bessers on this team is they don't have anyone drawing that defensive coverage. It's like the Sedins post 2011, post like good Ryan Kessler.
Yeah.
They were still amazing players that potentially could have been over 100 points a year after they were beyond that point statistically, but there's nobody drawing the defense. So if a team can focus on one line, you're in trouble. And the Canucks not only have one line that people will have to defend, they're kids. So it's that much harder for them because they're not used to that adversity.
And so now you have the one guy that's supposed to pick up the offensive slack.
Yeah.
They're saying, but not saying unofficially, is Elias Pettersson.
Who's looked good.
He looks very good. And
That's a lot of pressure on a really skinny kid.
And you know who he's playing with?
Ew.
Louis Eriksson.
Because of the language barrier?
Well, that's the opposite of a barrier.
You know, that combo wouldn't look so bad if you're on the third line behind the Sedins and a Horvat Besser unit. I don't mind that.
But it's a lot of what ifs and a lot of if everybody ups their game, and I don't see anybody really up.
It's good. You're gonna for the Canucks to have any, and I'm not talking about like a successful season,
Right.
but like
a fighting chance.
some wins, some runs with a few wins.
Because I feel like you asked today whether Louis Eriksson even makes it to Christmas.
I believe that's a question, and I mean, he'll get a Louis Eriksson injury and he'll be gone.
And then what?
Darren Archibald.
Then who is Pettersson talking to then?
He's talking to Jack Hughes, he's telling him how great it's going to be when he gets drafted first overall.
The Canucks kids are not like Toronto's kids.
They're not like Toronto's kids, but I will say this, Warren. Like people are always worried about exposing the kids, like in an Oiler-like way.
Yeah.
I don't think these kids are in an Oiler-like situation either. They're just not very.
How do you mean by that, though?
Well, like you rush Nugent Hopkins to the show when he's clearly not ready physically or mentally or just not ready to go. He should have spent another year in Red Deer. They pushed him there. They pushed Yakupov.
Right.
Taylor Hall was probably the most NHL ready out of them, but they all got exposed and they all got hurt, or they just they had that loser stink on them and. They just didn't seem...
Is that the problem when you pick first overall? You're thinking first overall should be ready to go?
There's a lot more pressure that goes with not necessarily just first overall, but if you're even a Patrick Laine, second over, any of those guys that are just like you were expected to make the team the first year, you're expected to be an impact player the first year.
In Canada, too.
And unfortunately, year after year after year after year after year, Edmonton was picking first overall. So you're assuming...
Yeah.
But they're picking a guy who's ready to go in.
And by the time Nail Yakupov came, it seemed like Eberle or Hall was a 3 or 4 year grizzled vet who still didn't figure it out. So you're in this awful cycle. There are guys that are around Pettersson who is really the only concern. I mean, Bo's ready to be captain, and they have that core around them of veteran guys.
Right.
So it's not that Edmonton Oilers put the kids out there and watch them lose and be miserable at it.
No, and there's nothing about Brock that screams rookie.
I'm worried about Brock this year.
Why?
I don't think he's going to do very well.
Slump.
I think that he's going to be the leading scorer on the team with 18 goals.
Well, but that's the thing, right? There's no one else to lead, so it's easy to be the leading scorer.
Exactly.
When you only have to beat 17 goals.
It'll be a guy like Sven Berchi, I think, could jump out and get 25 goals this year because he's old enough to not let everything get to him, and he's due to have a bit of a breakout. And I think he's had bad injury luck in the past. As far as Elias Pettersson, a guy I saw in Winnipeg the other night, came into town with the Devils, Nico Herscher, good year last year, very comparable in size. I did see him get knocked over 2 or 3 times where he tried to do stuff down low around the net and he just gets destroyed. And that happens to bigger players as well in the NHL.
It's a tough game, baby.
But it was noticeable, but despite that, he did get over 50 points last year. So Elias Pettersson could come in here, be that size, still put up maybe not 50 points, but I'd say anything over 30, 40 points would be an amazing rookie season on this roster.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he seems pretty level-headed, and I don't know if that comes with a language barrier and everything's new to him, but he just seems very businesslike every time I've seen him interviewed, every time I've seen him just out on the ice. It doesn't seem like he looks shaky or nervous like you sometimes see with some of the kids that are a little wide-eyed, because he's been a huge star in a professional league in his home country, so he's probably past some of that stuff that's of concern.
Yeah, from what I've read from Travis Green, like he's confident, he wants to learn. He says he's learning every day, and it's just he's on the right track. He's on the right track. He's doing all the right things, but let's see what happens when the real season starts, kind of thing.
And we do have to rush these because we're running out of time. I was just the last thing with Pettersson. Are we agreed it's Elias Pettersson, not all the people trying to pronounce it with a Swedish accent?
I just went off of what I heard on TV, Elias. I'm E Pettersson. That's me.
I tweet me, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's one of those where like I keep hearing all these play-by-play guys tell me if I'm wrong.
I like Elias.
All these play-by-play guys have been so careful. Like he said it was Elias Pettersson, they're trying to do that mid-play, and I'm like, the equivalent to that though is like if you get like an English guy on the team and you wouldn't like change to an English accent mid play-by-play to be like, I'm trying to think, who's that? The Scottish guy, Tony Hand, who was supposed to be the next Gretzky. You wouldn't be like, Tony Hand takes the puck down the ice and clears it out. Hand, you don't change your accent.
So how long before he's like Eli Peterson?
Well, I mean, Danny and Hank, he's going to be, Eli Pettersson. But Elias, I don't get
baby,
that.
Eli.
They're trying so hard to have a Swedish
Peterson,
accent.
not Pettersson.
Eli Peterson. So we'll go through the other 8 of these. A little brisk, but I mean, feel free to chime in. As a curious team, I wrote the Vegas Golden Knights. They lost in 5 to the Washington Capitals.
I mean, they just picked up like a captain.
They picked up a captain and Max Pacioretty. They got Paul Stastny, so their biggest problem in the playoffs was a lack of depth at center and scoring. So they got both of that, and they lost Lucas Spiza. So that's like addition by subtraction.
He went to the island, didn't he?
He had a PTO somewhere. I think it was on the island, and he got cut from it.
Oh yeah, I'm like, Edmonton got Garrison. All these Canucks cast-offs
I know.
Worked their way around.
I mean, I'm sure if they were on the Canucks right now, they'd both be playing every night, top 4. Nothing really sticks out for them. They were second in goals against. They were a very smart, terrifying team.
Do you think they'll be a smart, terrifying team this year?
I think that I don't have an answer.
They seem like they'll be smart. I don't know if they'll be terrifying.
They're still very fast.
Yeah.
They're a very good team.
Yeah.
They're going to be very good this season, but people are going to be preparing for them more than I think they did get the first 40 games. Probably a lot of people.
Glug, glug, glug.
Well,
and that's the thing, right? You would think that most of them have gotten a little bit of that out of their systems.
Yeah. And it's curious to see what road teams are going to think of Vegas this year now that the novelty's worn off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't have an answer. That's
They're
why.
going to stay off the main strip and at the Golden Nugget.
Exactly.
They'll be an interesting one to watch. All those underdog players that Marchessaults that you underestimated, you're not going to do that this year.
That's why I have them listed as curious.
But I do think they're going to be good.
Yeah. Here's a good team that's going to be good. Sorry, I find that funny. Toronto Maple Leafs. They're good.
They're going to have to win all their games 8-5.
Yes. Last year, 13th in the league for goals against. They had the 4th best power play, 15th best penalty kill. So they got a Swiss cheese back end.
Yeah.
And you can outscore them every night if you need to. Or you can you got to outscore them because they're going to,
They're going to score a lot of goals, so you have to outscore them.
Yes, thank you. As I blah, 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 blah.
They're going to be a lot of fun to watch. That offense.
Oh my God, I know.
Saturday nights are exciting again.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, well, and then at 7 o'clock when the Canucks Arizona Coyotes game starts, you just turn that thing right off and away you go.
It's when you set your fantasy lineups for the next day.
Matt Martin and Leo Komarov are losses. They are both picked up by Grandpa Lou on the island.
He knows what he's getting.
I don't want to go into detail this week, but the Toronto Maple Leafs this year and next year are going to be a very curious team.
Okay.
Basically because of the cap crunch. Willie Nylander has not reported, And
but Kyle Dubas, numbers guy, he knows what he's doing.
he knows fancy stats. He doesn't know how to use a calculator to add up the salary cap.
Yeah, but the Excel spreadsheet calculates for you.
You'd think. Willie Nylander at this point, it's Monday. He hasn't reported. He wants a legitimate contract, and basically they gave all his money to John Tavares, and they gave all other money to Patrick Marleau, which doesn't seem like the best deal coming out of that first year.
Somebody else might want to give him some money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if the Leafs can move him for some help on the blue line or possibly in net.
He seems like a guy that would look real nice in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
They don't have any room. They've got so many good young guys.
Come to Vancouver. We got lots to trade you.
We don't know. We don't have lots to trade you.
We got nothing here.
Well, you want defense, so
We've
Chris
got
Tanev.
lots of space.
Notable additions, Johnny Tavares and Tyler Ennis, grizzled vet, to play bottom 6 minutes. Smart little cheap move.
Oh, so Tavares did pick a home, is what you're saying.
A bad team,
Yeah.
Ottawa Senators. This is some good stats. Last year, 25th in the league for goals per game, 30th goals against. Their power play was 27th, and their penalty kill was 26th.
Is that team just going to crumble?
They are. Surely the Canucks are going to be bad, but the Senators just don't. They don't give a fuck.
Well, that's the thing. Their off-ice situation is just as ugly. At least the Canucks did it in a neat and tidy way.
Are you just talking about Eugene Melnick's community access TV show?
Maybe. Is it on Shaw?
It looks
probably.
like it was.
Where he's wearing a 12-year-old jersey.
It's where
and
Paul's headed
interviewing
next
plugs.
for another 4 months.
Working, shooting access shows for Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene won't even let me co-host with him. I'll be running the camera and editing. What have I become? And then Matt Duchesne will be hanging out with a beer beside me in the edit suite.
Sounds like paradise for old PMAC. And you'll reach into your bag about to show him the jersey. He's like, I hate fans. I hate this town. And you just put it back down.
He's probably just read some of the tweets, so he thinks I'm going to want to be his best friend. It's just going to be this horrible mess. And then, they'll have to trade him because there'll be a disagreement in the organization. It'll be a whole thing.
We went off on some tangent. However, the Canucks showed Trevor Linden the door very nicely and respectfully. I don't know what the fuck is happening here. I wouldn't want to work there.
I don't want to work there. I don't think they're hiring anybody.
Not to mention you got to drive like 40 minutes out of town to get to this job. Not that I don't do that now, but...
Dave's going to be assistant GM of the Senators in 4 to 6 months. I can see it now.
And they didn't even get rid of Bobby Ryan after all that.
How is he still there? Can you imagine? Like, there's just they waived their assistant captain and like really big team guy, Zach Smith, and Duchesne was. He put it quite bluntly. It's a kick in the balls for them. Mm-hmm. So they don't give a shit about the guys they still have.
Yeah,
it's a business now. It's the lowest cap hit possible, and it's just going to be miserable.
Sounds like it's 1990 or 1993.
In Ottawa?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, if he didn't earn a spot on the team, we did just applaud the Canucks for cutting one of their older vets that some of his teammates probably won't be happy about.
Wasn't there a year in which they won 8 games? Do you think they can replicate that?
Back when Elaine Vigneault was the assistant coach, Rick Bowness.
They're going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's going to be a weekly discussion on the show about who's worse this week.
Let's see which one can go lower.
Yeah, Canucks or... But the problem, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the problem with the Ottawa Senators is they don't have a first-round pick.
No.
It's in Colorado. So the Colorado Avalanche are sitting there with their feet up, feeling pretty good about their rebuild, going, well, let's just sit and see how bad Ottawa is so that we can figure out where to slot Jack Hughes into the lineup
I
next
still
year.
think they're looking great. The Avs are going to be...
They are looking good. They just made the cut from my curious list, but I want to keep tabs on them because
so many interesting guys, and Nate McKinnon's I think only just starting to show us what he's got.
Absolutely. There's some bodies from San Jose and in Ottawa, and that's about it. Curious team, Washington Capitals. They're icing more or less the same team. Jay Beagle, he left. Alex Chazon, he left for Edmonton.
Those guys are still hungover.
Yeah, and Barry Trotz, he's out. Todd Reardon's their new coach, and he benched Devontae Smith-Pelly for poor conditioning.
That's fair.
And you could say he's hungover, but he does have a history of this. Michel Therrien did it in Montreal.
Oh, but the guy seems like he turns it around.
He turns it around when it matters most.
Yeah.
They were first in goals per game last year, second best power play. They were putting the exact same team down. I predict a Stanley Cup flu, but that's a great hockey team.
Yeah.
Their team, I mean, in the last few years, they were all very good and competitive, and people were only ragging on them because they're sort of like, until last year, the San Jose Sharks in the West, where great team, lots of fun to watch, but had never been able to clinch the Stanley Cup.
So they should be back in that
You got
same
that
spot.
weight off your shoulder. They're not maybe a favorite, but they are definitely a team that could win it, even if they have, are continued to be considered a dark horse cup favorite, but still a very good team.
For sure. For good, I have the San Jose Sharks. They were really good. Top 6 for all those categories: power play, penalty kill points, goals per game, goals against per game.
They got gooder.
They got a lot gooder.
Because they got rid of Yannick Hansen, right? That's what you're saying?
That's exactly right. And Erik Karlsson is there. They already had a fantastic back end on defense. Now they have the most threatening, terrifying.
There's like no parity in the league. Some people have a backhand and some have nothing.
Yeah, like there should be some sort of socialism regarding defense where all the good ones get handed out, so there's some even playing field. But
No, but I like the hoarding that's going on in San Jose.
the hoarding. This is a question.
You would too.
Oh, absolutely. And they have 1 year to do this before the cap crunch, where Karlsson wants a new deal. And
eventually Joe Thornton's got to retire.
That's right. Question here from Alpha Phi Jake. Fun question. Who scores more goals? Any Sharks defenseman or a Canucks forward?
Sharks D.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
It's going to be good. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, the most goals any of those guys have ever scored is Burnsy's 29 a few years ago.
Are we thinking goals or like
Goals.
points? Goals. Well, you said if Brock Besser is leading the Canucks in scoring and he barely gets to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be very easy for a San Jose Shark to put up some serious points.
If I could see I could see Burns and Karlsson having more points, more goals than Brock Besser.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, I don't think it's as given as, like, it's fun to go,
Shall we
whatever.
bet
but
on it?
I'm not saying it's a sure thing either way, but I don't think that's the thing. It's not a sure thing.
Well, no.
Those two guys, amazing offensive, but a lot of these defensemen primarily put up assists. They're setting things
That's
up.
what we're doing here, Paul. We're playing prognosticator.
Pick a guy. Who's going to get more goals this year?
You can't pick that. It's half random.
That's the whole point of these prognostications.
I'm a serious
they don't
hockey.
mean anything.
And that, but I'm saying like that says a lot though if you're not quite sure.
All right,
It's going to be about the same space. Both of them are like 20 goal guys typically. You think somebody on the Canucks could break 20 goals this year. So
that's a big.
But that's not saying it's good for the Canucks forwards if your best guy is going to get 20, 25 goals.
I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go on Team Sharks. Geeta, what about you, Team Sharks?
Yeah, I think I've made that clear.
Yeah, okay. And then we'll give you a couple months to decide that one. But it's just like pick one, heads or tails.
Exactly, it's heads or tails.
On to the Montreal.
I think you want to do the pick.
Montreal Canadiens for a bad team. 29th goal. They were 29th in the league at goals per game last year, and I think they're getting a little worse. 25th for goals against, so they were porous. Carey Price is hurt, as he's usually been.
They're going to be bad right now, and they're only going to get worse before they're going to get better, because they still have a couple of good players that are eventually going to have to leave that team.
Yeah, like Shea Weber and Carey Price are game changers. They can win you a game. Brendan Gallagher could be one. Max Domi was added, and he's suspended because he's a cheap shot artist.
Yeah.
They have Jesperi Kotkaniemi.
Great. Yep.
Good enough.
Alpacas.
He was their third over top 5 pick last year, and he was the long range pick. Like they were gonna sit and wait for him to develop pick, and he went into camp and look great, and he's going to start the year with the Habs. So that's an interesting thing to watch.
Okay.
They really liked him going into the draft, and he is a very talented player. And a lot of kids are coming out of the last couple drafts and going to be playing this year.
So there's a lot of young guys that I'm just very excited to see. Curious, my Calgary Flames. I'm still on my own Calgary Flames bandwagon. They were 27th in the league for goals for a game. They famously did not have a goal from their bottom 6 until 17 games into the regular season. So they went to fix that. They got the real deal James Neal to add some goal scoring depth. They were 7th on the PK. They missed the playoffs last year. Glenn Gulletson got fired. They were a big disappointment. They built one hell of a defense core. Travis Hamonic. They looked great on paper, and everything went to shit. So Dougie Hamilton was traded for liking going to the museums too much. Glenn Gulletson was fired for just not being that good. Michael Ferland was traded with Dougie to Carolina. They got rid of Matt Stajan and Christopher Stieg. They got in angry Bill Peters in Carolina, and then they promptly traded for a whole bunch of Carolina Hurricanes that Bill Peters would like coaching. And they re-signed them, so it's an interesting thing. I'm really liking this team. I'm very excited to see what they're going to do, and they're definitely a curious team.
Okay.
They remind me a lot of the Colorado Avalanche a few years back, who were looking pretty good, and then had that terrible season, and everyone was like, Colorado sucks. They picked the wrong players, as opposed to, these are young guys, and sometimes they slip up and then bounce right back. Calgary could come back from last season, look really good. Edmonton could do the same, but I think Calgary's got a much better chance and more depth to be able to actually do something relative to the Oilers when we're talking about Alberta.
And finally, my last team is listed as curious. They are they're currently being worn on my chest with pride. The Philadelphia Flyers. They had a fun run to the playoffs where they gave Pittsburgh a run for their money. Claude Giroux kind of lived up to the hype and was a Hart Trophy candidate. They have a shit ton of very interesting prospects. Nolan Patrick, Ivan Provorov, 2 Brandon Wheat Kings, Sean Couturier, Wayne Simmons is still there. So they have a very exciting core. They still don't really have any goaltending.
Okay.
They do have one hell of a new mascot, though, that has taken the world by storm in our man Gritty. And
our man.
You don't like him?
Again, heads or tails? He's a mascot.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, and I quite like him. And their goaltender of the future, Carter Hart, who was with the Everett Silvertips, he's overage, so he's playing in the AHL. So there is something to keep an eye on. Another curious team. James Van Riemsdyk is back with them.
Yeah.
And those are our 10 teams, our PON 10.
All right.
Tom Wilson got suspended. Or he's going to get suspended because he had another cheap shot.
Oh.
Washington Capitals. Okay. Toe in the line, gritty top 6 guy that always.
Sure.
Yeah. A couple of questions here and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Ryan Hank, always 94. Is Louis Eriksson a Canuck at Christmas?
That's the question. I thought we answered that.
Well, I don't think so.
Well, we touched upon it.
I think he'll still be here, unfortunately, but on the IR.
He's one of those guys that, like,
he's just so injury.
if he wasn't paid as much as he was, you wouldn't mind him in your bottom 6, I don't think. Well, we'll see. We'll see what he comes out. People have pointed out he takes a while to warm up with a new team. It took him a while, and then all of a sudden he sort of came unexpectedly and actually looked okay in Boston after a couple of years.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see something. I'm not expecting a lot.
There you go.
But, I think he sticks it out this year and maybe can find a trading partner heading into the next season and a half if he turns it around a little bit.
One last question, and this is right up Dave or PMAX alley. Speeds' Pizza asks, which team has a better chance of making the playoffs, the Canucks or the Buffalo Bills? Geeta, I'm going to hand this one over to you.
The Bills.
Well, the Bills only play 16 games.
Exactly.
They only got to win 7 games, I think.
You got to win 8 or 9 to be sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with our team, the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Did Donald Trump get to buy them yet?
No, they're smart enough to say no.
I wanted to bring something up.
What's
that?
that?
I saw it on the Twitters. Redeem Verbata retired.
That's right. He's done. Actually, he and Scott Hartnell also retired this week too.
But the thing that caught my eye was he was selected 212th overall in 1999, and only 3 players from that draft class played more games and scored more points.
Who are they?
Yeah, who are they?
The Sedin brothers.
That's 2. I was going to guess like Havlat or something like that.
Do you know who? Did you look it up?
I didn't look it up.
Oh, yeah. I actually wanted to look that up, too. I'm like, was
Okay.
Pavel Datsyuk that year?
I don't, but he wouldn't have been a first rounder.
Hang on.
Well, it didn't say that has to be first rounders.
No,
'cause
it
he
didn't. But
Verbata
that's the thing.
definitely
I wouldn't
wasn't.
have remembered.
Yeah.
he
Everybody
wasn't-
look on your phones.
Paul, you cover us.
Anyway, yes,
Song
Redeem
and dance.
Verbata. Great player, overachieved what anybody expected. Started out with the Colorado Avalanche and worked his way up to the glory years with the Phoenix and Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, because Martin Havlat went 26.
Hank Zetterberg.
Ah.
I was going to guess Zetterberg, but I thought he was older for some reason.
Good
I would have thought he was younger.
good guess there, PMAC. I like that.
It was a Red Wing.
Ooh. So we'll wrap it up because
because Datsyuk was like 2002 or 3.
Okay.
He's much younger than that,
There
now
you
that I think
go.
about it, yeah.
yeah, we're gonna wrap this up so we can get into 5 minutes for paying and then do the fantasy draft. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you for listening. We want to thank you for coming back for another season. We want to make sure you support the show and follow us on Twitter, pucksnet.ca, pucksnet.ca, patreon.com/pucksonnet. Once
Datsyuk
again,
was 98, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Nicholas, Megan, Matt, Ben, Jacob, Brian, and Matt again. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
pledging money. We'll talk to you.
But also for listening.
Yes, and we'll talk to you in the fantasy draft chat.
I promise we'll only get better.
Rate and review the show on iTunes. Leave a comment. Patreon.com, Facebook, all that jazz. And thank you. And we're going to watch this video right now, and then we'll turn on the draft. Or we'll go into the fantasy draft.
Move, get on.